We're going to talk about why China is calling for reform to the international silver market and why that could easily mean $100 silver. We're going to talk about the ladies. We're going to talk about women who are flocking to the gold and silver stacking community. CoinShop Chris and I had a very interesting conversation on that very subject, and we want to touch on that tonight because we are more than happy to welcome all the women that are joining us in Ron's Basement, more and more by the day. You're going to be astounded by the statistics of what is going on. Also, we want to touch on premiums. Are the coin shops ripping you off? Are you getting fleeced when you go to the coin shop, or is there more to the story, right? And we're going to talk about $100 silver once again and why our friends in China are seeing that as the future price for the metal. Also, do you find it interesting? Have you considered this? That gold is the only asset class that's come very close to its all-time high in the last year. There's no other asset class out there that's been near its all-time high, but gold has. And what does that predict for the future? I was going to say portend, but I don't even know if that's a darn word. So thank you for joining me. Let's dig right in to this news from China. This was first reported by SD Bullion, and it's fascinating news. We have both media reports, television, state media reports in China about silver, and a super interesting article, an open letter. We're going to start with that to the China Buy News Agency. And again, guys, this is about silver in the impending shortage of silver, and we know that will mean rocket fuel for the silver price. Right, old Smitty the Silver Bear? There he is right there, huh? His $85 blindfold. We'll be ripping that off before we know it. The big party, the big celebration, all of us together, $85 silver, because the Chinese have even a higher number in mind. Open article to the Chinese Buy News Agency, International Silver Market Reform Needed. They complain about the leverage used by the LBMA and the COMEX, and we talk about that all the time. You know, I talked this morning with Stuart Englert. He wrote that book, Rigged, Uncovering the Biggest Financial Fraud in the United States History. He's an expert on the silver market and the rigging that goes on. I have a new video coming out you can watch with Stuart where he explains to you the difference between the registered and the eligible silver that's in the vaults of the COMEX and the LBMA, and how leveraged that little bit of metal is. And the Chinese are complaining about it. The Chinese are saying they need more silver for industry. They're saying that the silver supply will be dried up within 20 years. Okay? Recycling, it right now is not economic. They need higher prices. This is coming from the Chinese. Demand going up, supply going down. Well, we've talked about that before, right? You know everything in terms of silver. Demand is going through the roof. Electric cars, solar panels, everything electronic, right? The electrification of the planet driving up demand for silver. Wow, this is a very crazy article that they wrote. They're saying that if they don't address the silver shortage soon, it will kill industry, kill innovation, right? Because we won't be able to manufacture the electronics and the new products that are needed for the future. The COMEX, they made fun of the COMEX and the LBMA. They're like, these markets, these artificial markets, they called them gambling markets. They react. The silver price, the paper, electronic silver price, it reacts to things like employment reports. Trivial. They said it's trivial the way it works out. Interest rate changes, the debt ceiling. They're laughing at the United States over there in London, the LBMA. They said we need silver to progress. Now, this is where it gets super interesting. They said basically there's no industry organization in the silver industry, in the mining industry, that we need something like an OPEC, right? Like OPEC is the organization for the oil producers, that we need something like that for silver. that would stop the exploitation in the industry. People selling cheap, right? The miners are forced individually to sell cheap. It constrains the mining companies. That they would need, that they could then put in things like quotas, limit production to keep price high, to make sure with a higher price, people would be more incentivized to build mines, right? They're talking about triple digit silver, okay? That's what they're saying that we needed. This is in this letter to the My News Agency. That'll get rid of waste. That'll get rid of the nonprofit in the industry, right? And I think we'd be okay with triple digit $100 silver. I know I would be okay with it. And they want to get rid of derivatives. This was really fascinating. They actually said that any derivative trading of silver should be capitalized or should be categorized, as commercial fraud crimes. No more naked short selling. You know what naked short selling is? No, I'm not going to take my clothes off. Don't worry. Naked short selling is when someone sells a product or a stock or a commodity that they don't actually own. They're naked, right? They don't actually own it, but they sell it. They sell it short without actually having possession of it. They say that is also should be categorized as a commercial financial crime. Now, they also had some news footage from the Chinese state media where they went around and visited silver smelters. This is super interesting. They're basically these guys that are running these silver smelters are like, we are running overtime right now. Like, we can't keep up with, we don't have enough supply to keep up with demand. Demand from industry, demand from investors, right? From all over the world, even demand from jewelry. There's limited supply. They went on to quote one of these silver smelter managers went on to quote the figures that we already know, right? From the Silver Institute. What's the Silver Institute tell us? It tells us that they're going to mine like maybe 900 million ounces of silver this year, but there's going to be a demand of like 1.3 billion. There's like whatever it is, 200 million, 300 million, 400 million. There's a huge shortfall of silver. And these Chinese, this is on the state media, okay? These Chinese smelters are quoting these numbers like it just doesn't work. We're running out of silver. They also, these guys were running these smelters were sharp, quoted the low inventory levels at the COMEX and the LBMA. One of the plant managers, again, complained like the silver price is manipulated. And it's affected by like crazy, stupid things like he said, like the Federal Reserve interest rate, right? Which, by the way, we're going to hear about that this week. So great report from SD Bullion. You can check it out for yourself. Very interesting what the Chinese, including, hey, thank you, Silver Deegan Club. Wow. I got a super chat. I appreciate that. Wow. Thank you. Always appreciated. Never expected, but yes, super chats certainly help as we're trying to support the family. So thank you, my friend. The state media is talking about, number one, the shortage of silver. Number two, the fact that this manipulation is going on. Great book, and I'm not trying to sell you on anything, but there's a great book called Rigged, again, written by Stuart Englert. I talked with him this morning. I'll have an interview either tomorrow or Tuesday coming out. Stuart wrote the book on the rigging in the silver market, the manipulation of the silver price. Not just recently, even, like going back to the 70s, easy to understand. He's a great guy with some great insight, and we had an awesome conversation. Let's talk about the influx of women into the stacking world. Coin Shop Chris and I were talking earlier today, and he was saying even at the coin shop where he works, there's more and more women who are becoming interested in stacking. And and I can tell you, Well, I kind of joked with them. I said, well, see, that proves that women are smarter than men after all, right? But I also told him that on my channel, on Ron's Basement, I get all this data, right? And I'm not a big data guy, but I do look at it from time to time. Like, most of my viewers are from USA, but there's a lot of you from all over the world, right? Canada, South America, Asia, Australia, everywhere. Everybody's welcome, including women from day one. But there were from day one, it was like 3%, 4% women that watched my videos. And I used to tell my wife, I said, I think maybe it's like my girlfriends from college. I don't know who's, I don't understand why there's only 3% women. That number has been skyrocketing. That's now up to almost 15%. And again, I asked CoinShop Chris, I said, do you think, Chris, it's because of my dashing good looks? And he didn't answer me. And I asked him again. I said, no, Chris, do you think it's because of my dashing good looks? And then he has this funny giggle that he did. And he said, you have to leave that between you and Susie. So the fact of the matter is, and it's awesome, right? Because when we're here together, cellar dwellers, there's one thing that binds us together, and it's not that we're men or women or Americans or Argentinians or Australians. There's one thing that binds us together, amongst other things, but the one key thing that binds us together, and that's silver, okay? Gold, too, if you love gold, or platinum for Neil Hahn from Neil Hahn's Dynasty, the platinum guru, right? That's another person the Silver Dagon Club may want to get in touch with, is Neil from Neil's Hahn Dynasty. He is the platinum guru, but the metals bind us together. We'll just say silver. So the fact that we're seeing more and more women come into the stacking community, you are welcome, okay? And it's awesome that you're here, and I hope to see those numbers continue to grow, because we get more men, we get more women that are into protecting themselves, protecting their wealth with silver, with gold, with platinum, with real assets. That's what we're after. We want to get the word out there. And by the way, we got 100 thumbs up. At 100 thumbs up, I rang that darn bell 10 times. All right. So bear with me. The more, the merrier, right? Like we're at the silver and gold to precious metals summer camp together. We're all sitting around the campfire, huh? Talking our silver and our gold. CoinShop Chris had a great idea. He said, see if some of the women will send you their story. So if you want to email me, my email address is always in the description of every video. Email me your story and let me know what prompted you to get interested in stacking. I'm always interested to hear from you. So we talked about this. The gold market is the only market, right? Not the stock market, not the bond market, not the real estate market. No other market has been near its all-time high but gold. Now, we know silver's got a little way to go, but gold, when we talk about gold, we're talking about silver. Gold is like the big brother to the little brother silver. And I can't say this enough, and maybe I'm not the best explainer. I'm trying to become a better explainer, but I want to explain something that we think is negative, that's actually a massive, you know how sometimes they say your weaknesses are your strengths? Well, think about this. Right now, the sentiment, the feeling for gold and silver are at near all-time lows, okay? I'm talking general market sentiment, especially when we look at the mining stocks, near all-time lows. Overall, this is what I'm hearing. Even in the gold, like the physical gold market, the way they can measure sentiment, it's near all-time low. Okay, that's bad, right? Boo-hoo, let's go cry. No. There's something super positive and great that could be skyrocket for the gold price and the silver price. Hear me out. Gold's within striking distance of an all-time high, right? If gold gets to an all-time high, like this week, let's say, we get some good news from the Fed and gold shoots up by the end of the month to 2,200 like we talked about. Hello, Joe. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you. You know what? Still need the address. Joe, did you send me? I'll double check. I thought I emailed. If you're in California, I thought I emailed you back. I got off track. I'm sorry. Sentiment's at an all-time low. Gold price, striking distance of an all-time high, okay? So let's say gold goes to an all-time high, right? And we still have bottom of the barrel sentiment. And then once gold gets to an all-time high, maybe then CNBC and the Wall Street Journal, maybe some people start talking about it like, hey, gold's at an all-time high. So then suddenly the sentiment also improves. But the sentiment doesn't improve until we're already at an all-time high, and it just pushes it even higher. That's why I'd say we could go from $2,200 gold to $2,500, $2,600 gold in a snap. In a real snap. It could be super, super exciting. And thank you, CoinShop Chris, for the super chat. You guys are overwhelming me with your generosity. Thank you so much. And yes, if we get to 200 thumbs up, I will do the bird peck with my nose of the bell. See the bell there? Even though I've injured myself now several times doing that, once we get to 200 thumbs up, and by the way, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, it's free. And wow, thank you, Sharon. Wow, super generous. You guys are blowing me away. Thank you. I will do the bell with my nose. Okay? I promise. Somebody in the comments was talking about the fact that the general stock market is turning bullish, right? And somebody else commented, oh, maybe it's a crack up boom time. And that's what it feels like. There's this David Hunter, who's a well-known analyst, been around for like 6 decades. He's calling for this crack up boom right now. And we may see that. We may see, everybody thinks the market's going to crash, but we may see the markets run up higher. The thing is, if that happens, that's going to be because of easier monetary policy, and that will be super, super supportive for the price of gold and silver. One last thing on China. We know they love their silver, right? They're saying we need $100 silver, and we aren't going to argue with them on that one at all, are we? They're also buying gold like crazy, 16 tons in May. All right, it's the last time I'm going to talk about that. Second biggest economy in the world, fastest growing economy in the world, and align itself with other Eastern countries. August 22nd, the big BRICS announcement, where we're probably going to hear about a new reserve currency that they're coming out with, a new currency they can use to trade amongst themselves. And nobody knows for sure, right? But there's speculation and strong reason that that currency could potentially be backed by real assets, things like silver and gold. The Chinese and the Russians and the Brazilians and all these other countries are fed up with the dollar, and they want something backed by real assets. So it's going to be just a super interesting situation. Do you feel like you get ripped off when you go to the coin shop? Again, Coin Shop Chris and I chatted about this earlier today. The premiums are crazy on silver, not so bad on gold, and I'm really not too sure about platinum. Neil of Neil's Han Dynasty would be the guy to talk about that. But premiums, the spot price of silver is $24. I got to pay $28 or $29. The premiums are ridiculous. The coin shop's ripping you off. No, guys, the coin shop is not ripping you off. You got to think about the number of steps between the silver mine and the coin shop, right? The silver mine mines the silver. They sell it for about spot, but they sell it to a refiner. They refine it, right? Then they send it to maybe, let's call them a producer or a mint that makes a bar or makes a round or makes a sovereign coin. Then it goes to a wholesaler who then sells it to the coin shops. There's like 4 or 5 steps. People are making money all the way. The best way to see if your coin shop's ripping you off is to consider the spread between what they'll buy something from you for and what they'll sell it back to you for. If that's outrageous, you want to shop around. And you always want to shop around when you're buying silver, because depending on an individual coin shop or even an online retailer's inventory level, what they have going on, they're going to be willing to sell or buy at different prices. And if you shop around over time, you're going to do much, much better. Let's hop into the comments. Thank you, Sharon Johnson. Super nice. Wow. CoinShop Chris, you guys are unbelievable. Everyone, please tell CoinShop Chris thank you. He's here again tonight. He hasn't been feeling all that great, and he's always like helping with this channel. This is not possible without the support from CoinShop Chris in many, many ways. Tattoo a bullseye on your nose. That's funny, Sharon. Thank you. Yeah, maybe I should. Maybe Susie, I think, maybe might want me to put a bullseye on my forehead. The media will send precious metals to the moon. Yeah, we're in a situation. The BRICS down with the axle of evil. CBDC, CBDC. You know, it looks like we're going to get central bank digital currency here before we know it. And when I was talking this morning, right, with Stuart Englert, I asked him, I said, Stuart, I don't like CBDC, but I know I can't stop it, right? I mean, I can do my little part, but I'm not going to be able to stop the central bank digital currency. So, but I feel like, and I want to know what you feel like too. You can put it in the comments. I feel like it should be very positive for precious metals, because what are the other options going to be? You have CBDC, there's no more cash, right? Cash isn't allowed. So you're either going to have CBDC, crypto, or precious metals. And let's touch on that while we're speaking about this as well. The Securities and Exchange Commission is putting out massive actions against the crypto world. Binance and Coinbase, the two biggest exchanges, like they're not shutting them down, but they're kind of sort of shutting them down to a certain degree. Do you want your money in crypto? I personally am not a crypto person, right? I always like to grab my Bitcoins and Ethereums and my digital dollars and all that, right? I'm not a big... So what are people going to do when the CBDC comes around? What's the only other option for financial privacy? Silver and gold. Wouldn't that mean that demand for silver and gold could be like a wave of new demand coming in? Now, that seems too simple, and so I could be dead wrong. I'm often wrong. You can ask my wife, Susie. She'll confirm that. But to me, and Stuart, I kind of agreed with that as well. He was like, yeah, I think it could be actually a positive thing for the precious metals. So I'll be curious what your thoughts are on that one, guys. Here's the book. I'm really not trying to plug the book, but it's a good book. And this is a good guy. Stuart Englert, that's the book he wrote. I just printed out. He's a really super nice, good man, and really does this because it's a passion of his, an absolute passion. You know, another question I get from you guys all the time is, so if we go into a hyperinflation, right, and the price of silver goes up 10 times, doesn't that mean that everything else will go up in price 10 times? No, right? We could have a hyperinflation where, let's say, food goes up on average 5 times in cost. But guys, if that were to happen and there's a rush of people, silver's going to keep up with it, right? So is gold. But on top of that, the little bonus kicker would be, if that happens, if that were to happen, not only would silver and gold keep up with the hyperinflated prices, but all that demand coming in would drive the prices up even further. So we could find ourselves in a situation where a loaf of bread went up 5 times in cost over a 6-month period, but your silver price went up 10 times. So really, your silver doubled in value, okay? I think at minimum, if we're getting into a currency collapse, hyperinflation type environment, what you're going to see at minimum is your precious metals keep up with the basic necessity cost, right? Fuel cost, food costs, those types of things. But the kicker, again, because think about this. I want you to imagine this, right? Think about this. Think about what happened during the last couple little crises that we had. The health crisis in 2020 that we all lived through. Silver demand went through the roof, right? Huh? Yeah. What about just like 8 weeks ago, that little banking crisis? That wasn't, they did a good job of papering that over and keeping everybody calm. But what happened when that occurred? There was no silver to be found, right? So tell me, if we get into a currency collapse, hyperinflation environment, that there's not going to be 50 times the amount of demand for silver, and there was none to be found just 8-9 weeks ago. What do you think that would look out? That would increase the relative value. Again, I think an easy way to think about it would be the price of a loaf of bread would go up 5 times. The value of your silver might go up 10 times or maybe 20 times in value. That would be a relative value situation. I'm going to look through the comments here real quick because you are the most important. 10 times. Hello, Brett. The price will go up when the drug dealers start asking for it. Yeah. That's interesting you bring that up because it's a fact that silver and gold have been kind of villainized over the last, let's say, 50 years. There's some people who claim there was an organized effort to do this right after Nixon took us off the gold standard. They wanted to make gold and silver. It's kryptonite to the dollar. It's the enemy of the dollar. So even in Hollywood, in the movies, everything, they would kind of villainize, like the villains use gold, the pirates use gold, the bad guys use gold and silver. When the reality is, you talk to any law enforcement person on a national or international basis, and they will tell you that the criminals' means of exchange of choice is $100 bills, right? They don't want to carry around a bunch of metal. Those guys use paper money, ironically, not the silver and gold. Yeah, thank you guys for the super chats. Thank you all for being here. Bell time. Oh my God. I can't. The last time I did this, I injured my nose, and it's kind of embarrassing because I had to go to the little med stop thing. It used to be a little steak and shake restaurant. I don't know if you ever heard of that. And then they tore it down and built a med stop. And I had to go in there, and my nose was swollen. The lady said, "What happened?" And I said, "I really don't want to talk about it." She said, "Well, you have to tell me." I think she was concerned maybe that I was being abused at home. And so I had to tell her that I have a live stream and that I hurt my nose pecking my bell. But I'm going to do it again because I have a new method. All right, 2 times with the nose. 1. Woo. Oh, that hurts. Okay, that was a bad one. It feels like somebody's hitting a hammer up into my brain. There's your 2 bells. I don't know what I'll do if we get to 300 thumbs up. Maybe you guys can come up with some idea. Neil's solar panels. Very interesting. So June 14th. Yeah, that's the big day. Guys, we almost forgot to talk about it. Oh my God, it's like your 50th birthday, your wedding anniversary, your kids, I don't know, it's everything all wrapped into one. It's June 14th. And it's just 3 short days of that way. It's the biggest day in the history of the universe for silver and gold investors. And it's just 3 days away. Because I'll tell you what, it very well could be the day that the pendulum shifts. Now, I was calling for a pause long before anybody else was. And now, to be honest with you, I'm not quite as confident as I was. But what we need to look for on Wednesday, this is going to be a huge week. We are going to have fireworks in the silver and gold market, one way or the other. So be mentally prepared, right? I'd said we're either going to see gold in the 1800s or we're going to see gold, let's say definitely north of $2,000. I mean, I've said 2,200 by the end of June. But I think if things go favorably this week, we could see gold pushing up to $2,050 per ounce. But we could also see gold down in the 1800s. Yes, a 1.8, right? And we just have to be mentally prepared for either way because it's just going to be a big week. It's going to be a binary one way or the other. I tell you what, if next Sunday gold is at 1960 where it is now, I'll peck the bell 1,960 times. I might have to get a nose job by the time I'm done, but we're going to be making big moves in the precious metals market this week, and it's going to be super, super interesting. So hold on to your shorts. I mean, I don't know. Are things that good out there in the economy? You tell me. Hold on one second. I'll be right back. I'm back. Are things that good out there in the economy? I mean, I know one person who's really upset because how difficult things have gotten out there. And I'm going to tell you about that in a second. And I think he knows right now who I'm talking about. Yeah. Okay. But are things that good? I mean, I was at Home Depot earlier today. It seems slow. I even asked the clerk, I said, have you noticed things slow down in the last couple of months? And he said to me, absolutely. He said the store seems much slower right now than it did 1 year ago. He said 1 year ago, it felt like the store was twice as busy as it is right now. Walmart, I was out at my parents'. I drove down, it's called Highway K in O'Fallon, Missouri. Every store known to man is on Highway K, every restaurant. It doesn't seem like things are as busy as they were. We know this, the CFO of Costco said things are slowing down at Costco. And then, you know, I know CoinShop Chris is very upset about this. Okay, he's very upset. Let me get this article because he sent it to me, and he's really upset about what's going on. The headline of this article said that inflation is making luxury handbags unaffordable to an aspirational buyer. Inflation is making luxury. I mean, and I was joking with him, and I said, I think you're just heartbroken because you had your heart set on a Chanel handbag. He's laughing, I think, right now, or I'm going to hear from him later that he's not. Chanel handbags, I looked it up, $10,000. I mean, okay, I know we talked about the women. I mean, you know, would you, I'm not, I'm just the type of woman that if I have a purse, I'm going to spend about $20 on it. And I'll probably buy it used, but a good quality purse. That's what's important to me. Who in their right mind would spend 10 grand? Would you rather have a Chanel handbag or whatever, 350, 400 ounces of silver, let's say? Does that make any sense? I mean, to me, it's just absolutely crazy. Tell me in the chat, would you rather have a purse or the silver? You can say P or S. That'll make it easy. P or S. Oh boy, you guys are doing awesome tonight. Man, look at these great comments. Go to Marshall's. Yes, see exactly. Silver. CoinShop Chris even says silver now. Yeah, silver. A purse full of silver. Good one, Dr. Jekyll. Yes, that's what we would prefer. I'd take a Chanel handbag if it was full of silver and gold, right? Ghost in plain sight. Get it. Gold. Yeah, silver. Joseph, John, Mark. Wow. And you guys are blowing me away tonight. This is just awesome. Well, we got a big week ahead of us. Absolutely, without a doubt, we're going to have fireworks this week in the precious metals market. But we know one thing for sure. We know the fundamental reasons why we own the metals. That's kind of what these Chinese were saying in these reports. I'd recommend you check that out, that SD Bullion video. They were like, oh, the price can get manipulated on a short-term basis, but the underlying fundamentals, right, of why we buy silver, why we buy gold, why we store our value, that remains. That's timeless. It's been around for a long time, and it's going to continue to be around for a long time. And, you know, if the Fed raises rates again this week, or even there's some people are now talking about a pause a hawkish pause, and then they raise them again. These banks can't make it, guys. These banks are in trouble. These banks are like a pot of hot oil with a bunch of popcorn kernels in it. It's the best analogy I can come up with. And, 3 of the kernels popped. And if they keep raising the heat, right, more of the banks are going to pop. Not to mention the fact that there's so much debt out there in the system right now. And the Treasury has got to issue like $1.5 trillion of treasuries in the next, 2 or 3 months. Going to be sucking so much more money out of the system. And finally, and I don't want to be negative, but we got to realize too, there are a lot of companies and a lot of people out there that have so much debt that each time the interest rates go up, right? There are people out there, households out there that are just drowning in debt. And each time those interest rates go up a little more, whether it affects car payments, house payments, credit card payments is the big one, right? Average household has $10,000 in credit card debt. If you got less than $10,000, you're better than average. It's untenable. It's a very, very difficult situation. So let me go to the comments. If there's anything you want me to discuss, any questions you have. Adrian says, I say BRICS prices will make us super happy. Yeah, the BRICS, that's August 22nd. That is going to be a big, big, big day. We already have silver markets and gold markets that are very delicate, very sensitive right now. Imagine what would happen when they come out with an announcement on August 22nd about a new reserve currency, and that they want it to be, it's going to be coordinated by a bunch of countries that are getting along with each other, and they want it to be backed by silver and gold. I mean, it could just be unbelievable. I love you, Coin Shop Chris. You guys are the best. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, I put out a new video every day, right? I kind of pour my heart into at least 1 or 2 videos every day talking about silver and gold precious metals. That's always the core of my message. That's what binds us together. We are basement men, and when you're here, you're a basement man or a basement woman. Okay? You're always welcome here. So please, if you haven't subscribed, do subscribe. It does help my channel and everything else. Jamie D. Yeah, Jamie Dimon's a bankster. Yeah. The China news will be the most important. Yes. You guys have some great comments going here. I really appreciate all the participation. It's just really, really awesome. I agree, Snakebite. Great community. I mean, I don't know what else to say about you guys. Just unbelievable support. I appreciate you being here. I'll be back soon, okay? But please take care of yourself. Remember, you're important, okay? You're important to me. You're important to our community, and I know you're important to a lot of other people. Keep your head up, and I'll see you soon.